Madrid John Madden in Orizaba, Mexico. Dusk. The sun has already set behind Cerro del Borrego, the big mountain to the west of the downtown. But just a handful of people in the square. This isn't the square, but the front of the Palace of Governors, a place where I sit a lot and make videos a lot. I was down at that end of Colon Avenue at Castillo Park, which is a very vibrant square. Lots of life and lots of happiness. I'm going to do a short and then a long about the family structure in Mexico and how intact it is, and how I don't know enough sociology and history to describe all the reasons that the family structures are so terrible in the U.S., but mine was very uniquely awful. And I will keep going here and talk some more about all that. I may have to put a trauma alert on this video because I'm feeling so much and grieving a lot. I said in a video earlier today that the old family structures are still intact in Mexico, and the societal structures. There's still the town square. People come out to the town square in the evenings and on the weekends, and there's music and merriment, and people love each other in Mexico because they come up in families where they get so much love. It's so relatively consistent. It can't be 100% consistent, but my experience in a year in Mexico is that when I encounter someone who has been poorly raised, that the family structure didn't help, they stand out like a sore thumb. The guy in Veracruz who wanted to talk ugly, sexist talk about the women walking by on the street, and I went, what's going on with this guy? Mexican men don't do that. And I know in the U.S. catcalls is a big deal, and I know that there are some real reasons. I think it's been way, way, way overgeneralized, so where you can't say a nice thing about a woman. But I understand that in the U.S. it's because often it gets followed by sexual violence. Which, it's not that it never happens in Mexico. It's got to happen. But it's so much not the norm. So much not the norm. What the norm is that kids get loved, touched by a big extended family. Not just their parents. No. Brothers, sisters, aunts, uncles, grandparents get listened to by all these people. There's a solid family structure that leads to these kids being so happy. And part of what triggered this video is watching two boys playing tag. I'm a psychologist, trained as a psychologist, worked as one for a long time. Sibling rivalry, you assume it. Sibling rivalry, it's just going to happen in families. No. There may be little bits of it, but what's much more predominant is that the brothers and sisters love each other and are affectionate and enjoy each other's company because they don't have to fight to get enough love, because it's just plentiful. It was not plentiful in my family for so many reasons. Third generation Irish, dealing with anti-Irish sentiment. When we moved from the Irish ghetto, on the west side of Chicago, it might have been so much better, but it was looked as progress to move to the suburbs. But then we were stuck out there. It was just the nuclear family, and our family was not healthy for so many reasons. The one I dealt with for a long time was my dad's alcoholism and the fights between my mom and dad every night. Well, they're closing the window on that shop over there. That one's mechanical. That's unusual. It makes a lot of noise. But it's nice because when it's manual, it comes down with a slam. It's kind of scary sometimes. Yeah. No, there was not enough love and attention to go around. And the Irish women of that day were famous for being non-touched. They were Puritan because the Catholic Church had ruined them. It had for generations back in Ireland and in the U.S. And my mom hated my dad for his alcoholism. And alcoholism was the curse. There were only, out of 7 boys in that family, there were only 2 who escaped the alcoholism. Yeah. Crippled. I was in my 30s at a personal growth workshop, very powerful personal growth workshop, actually led by Jack Canfield, who's famous now for chicken soup books. God bless him. He was a wonderful, at that point, a kind of semi-hippie guitar playing personal growth therapist, Gestalt therapist, and brilliant. And I unearthed at that workshop the fact that I had, as a kid, made the determination, not conscious, but definitely had, that there's not enough love to go around in this family, and I'm taking it. My younger brother, 16 months later, he's just got to deal with himself, and it crippled him. He was crippled for life, emotionally, because of living in the shadows and never getting the love. I barely got enough to survive. He got less. And then it took me until my 40s to unearth the sex abuse that he and I had both experienced. Violent uncle. And it took longer to realize that was a tradition in that family. Part of my dad's alcoholism was he had made a decision that he wouldn't. His life was based around what he wouldn't do. He wouldn't do what was done to him. Wouldn't do what got done to the boys in that family. I mean, they might have, the celibate priests act out on children because they're so horny and frustrated and lonely. Well, the Irish men of that day might as well have been celibate priests because they sure didn't get love and sex from their partners. No. So, my brother and I didn't enjoy each other. No. If I was 6 to 10 when we were raped, he was 4 to 8. Pretty young. And after that point, we couldn't face each other because we had a memory that we dared not ever discuss. It's grisly. It's grisly, and it's not just us. It's the U.S. Fractured families, fractured communities, no town squares. No. All the alcoholism in the U.S. They're healthier in Mexico. And I'm thrilled to watch it. Mostly I'm just so thrilled all the time to watch the happy kids. But tonight it just kind of caught up with me. I've got a cold. I'm tired. Kind of broke right now. I'm at a vulnerable point. And it's hitting me like I've had 4 amazing years. I had a huge spiritual experience on June 26, 2019. I've been happy ever since. But it doesn't keep me from grieving. There's so much to grieve. All the chaos in the U.S., the racism, all it. And my family stuff. And still my stuff. It's still affecting me. I went on to marry a woman who hated me. My brother went on to marry a woman who hated him and me. Just so much fracturing. And because she hated me, she lives a mile away from our son. And she's managed in his adult years to turn him against me, so he doesn't talk to me for years now. And he loved me, he adored me as a kid, and I worked damn hard. Partly it was like, I will not be the detached, passive man that my dad was. I will be engaged with my son, and boy, I engaged with him. Which does make it hurt even more that he claims not to remember any of that. Yeah. So it's a down time for me. But it's been a great day. Most of the day I've been really, really happy. It's just this little window evening. Tired. Don't have much oomph to keep me going. But I just went on for 9 minutes. Probably too long for lots of you. Hey, if you've got comments, if you're from Mexico and know Mexico, make comments. If you're from the U.S. and any of this resonates for you, please leave comments. They keep me going. Because otherwise I'm just out here in Mexico talking to myself. I have friends. After just a month here, it's so easy to make friends in Mexico. I already have friends. But they're 1 month friends, and they speak a different language, which I'm still learning. Yeah. See? Babies suffer. Babies suffer. You heard that? Babies cry. All through Mexico, babies cry. Of course babies cry. But there are people around to love them and hold them. And if the mom and dad get used up on it, there's a grandmother or an aunt or uncle to hold the baby. It's different. Time for the U.S. to realize, come south, study. You don't have to flee from Trump. I mean, if he gets elected, please get out of that country. But I'm counting on that he won't. My most recent version is they're going to lock him up soon, because so much of what he says is treasonous and dangerous. I do believe they're going to lock him up soon and shut him up, and it will get peaceful there, hopefully. But come south to study, to learn about these families, about these structures. Why this? And don't be sold a bill of goods about Mexico's a horrible country. It's a great country, and lots of its problems stem from the U.S., and I've talked about that elsewhere. This poor baby. Poor baby. You know? But they get it out. They get it out. I learned to keep my pain inside. Yeah. Okay, I got through that pretty good, huh? Yeah. I'm going to go into the park and cry. Cry. I do. I have my moments, absolutely, and I embrace it. And it's very healing. Very healing. Okay.